Picture this, a family so rich they could buy entire nations. Like, imagine them snapping up Canada just for a summer retreat, yet so shadowy their spending feels like a treasure hunt through a maze of secrets. Welcome to the Rothschilds, a dynasty that's been hoarding billions since the 700s. We're talking castles that make Disneyland look modest, private jets that could circle the globe twice, and a fortune so vast it's rumored to dwarf modern tech titans like Elon Musk. In the next 20 minutes, we're ripping open the vault on how the Rothschild family spends their insane wealth. Spoiler alert, it's not just champagne showers and caviar mountains, though yeah, they've got those covered. This is a roller coaster of luxury, power plays, and a legacy so wild it feels like a Hollywood script on steroids. From buying islands to throwing parties that rewrite history, you won't believe the madness we're about to uncover. Buckle up, this is gonna get nuts. First off, let's talk real estate. The Rothschilds don't just own mansions, they own entire estates that stretch for miles, some of which have been standing for centuries. We're talking about properties like Waddesdon Manor in England, a sprawling French chateau-style estate that looks like something straight out of a fairy tale. Then there's Château de Ferrières, a palace in France so opulent it makes Versailles look like a weekend getaway. These aren't just homes, they're symbols of power, history, and influence that have been passed down through generations. And while the rest of the world sees these places as historic landmarks, for the Rothschilds, they're just another family heirloom. But wait, there's more. Ever heard of an art collection so massive it could rival national museums? The Rothschilds have been avid art collectors for centuries, amassing works from legends like Rembrandt, Picasso, and Da Vinci. Some of these pieces have never even been publicly displayed. They're tucked away in private galleries, hidden from the world, only to be admired by those within the inner circle. It's the kind of collection that makes billionaires jealous. A carefully curated vault of history and prestige. And what about their influence? You can't talk about the Rothschilds without mentioning their role in global finance. These are the people who helped fund wars, built banking empires, and essentially wrote the rules of modern economics. Their wealth isn't just about yachts and champagne, it's about control. They've had stakes in everything from railroads to oil, gold mines to wine empires. Oh, and speaking of wine, they own some of the world's most prestigious vineyards, producing bottles so rare and expensive that they make your average $500 vintage look like boxed supermarket wine. Let's not forget the insane parties. The Rothschilds are known for hosting some of the most exclusive, mind-blowing events in history. Take the 1972 Surrealist Ball, where guests arrived wearing elaborate masks and costumes straight out of a Salvador Dali fever dream. Hosted at Château de Ferrières, this wasn't just a party, it was a spectacle. With tables decorated with taxidermy animals, golden dinnerware, and guests who were among the world's most powerful elite. When the Rothschilds throw a party, it's not just an event, it's an experience that people talk about for decades. And if that's not enough, let's talk philanthropy, but not the kind you might think. While the family has been known to fund charitable causes, their philanthropy often comes with strategic influence. They've funded scientific research, education, and even entire institutions, shaping industries and steering the course of global progress in ways that most people will never even realize. So, what's the takeaway? The Rothschilds aren't just rich, they're power players on a level that's hard to comprehend. Their wealth isn't just about material luxuries, it's about influence, history, and a legacy so deeply ingrained in the fabric of the world that it's impossible to separate fact from myth. Whether they're buying art, funding industries, or throwing parties straight out of a fantasy novel, one thing's for sure: the Rothschilds live in a world that most of us can barely begin to imagine. Let's rewind to 1744, Frankfurt, Germany, where it all began in a cramped Jewish ghetto. Mayor Amschel Rothschild wasn't born rich. He was a coin trader with a sharp eye, hustling rare metals to princes. He understood something that few others did. Wealth isn't just about having money. It's about controlling money. That realization changed the course of history. Mayer's big break came when he secured a contract with Prince William of Hesse, one of the wealthiest rulers in Europe. By managing and growing the prince's assets, Mayer proved his financial genius and laid the groundwork for something much bigger. His 5 sons, Amschel, Salomon, Nathan, Carl, and James, weren't just sent out into the world. They were strategically placed like chess pieces in the power centers of Europe. London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt. Each Rothschild brother set up a banking dynasty, ensuring their family had eyes and influence in every major financial hub. By the early 1800s, the Rothschilds had become more than bankers. They were kingmakers. Governments came to them for loans, wars were fought and won with their financing, and entire economies depended on their favor. Nathan Rothschild, operating out of London, became the most powerful of them all. His strategy? Information. He understood that in finance, knowledge isn't just power, it's profit. During the Napoleonic Wars, Nathan perfected the art of intelligence gathering. He built a network of couriers, spies, and carrier pigeons to relay critical information faster than anyone else. The most legendary example? The Battle of Waterloo in 1815. While Britain and its allies faced off against Napoleon, Nathan's agents got the news of Napoleon's defeat a full day before the British government. The story goes that Nathan rushed to the London Stock Exchange and sold off his holdings, making it look like Britain had lost. Panicked investors followed suit, crashing the market. Then, just as swiftly, Nathan bought everything back for pennies on the dollar. When the real news broke, the market rebounded, and the Rothschild fortune exploded. Some call it myth, but even myths have power, and the Rothschilds never denied the tale. They didn't just play the game, they rigged it. By the 19th century, their wealth ballooned to what some estimate as $2 trillion in today's dollars. But they weren't just hoarding cash, they were architects of industry and infrastructure, bankrolling railways, funding the Suez Canal, and underwriting massive government projects across Europe. Monarchs and prime ministers didn't just respect the Rothschilds, they relied on them. When Nathan Rothschild famously declared, "I care not who controls a nation's politics so long as I control its money," he wasn't bluffing. But power invites scrutiny. Conspiracy theories have swirled around the Rothschilds for centuries, painting them as puppet masters of global finance. Were they really controlling the world from the shadows? Probably not in the way the wildest theories claim, but their influence was undeniable. When wars broke out, when markets crashed, when empires rose and fell, the Rothschilds were always there, whispering in the ears of those in charge. And what do you do with that kind of fortune? You don't just spend it, you shape the world with it. The Rothschilds built grand mansions, acquired priceless art, and established philanthropic foundations that still exist today. Their name is etched into the institutions of finance, culture, and history. So, as we dive deeper into the billions and the bonkers ways they splashed their wealth, remember, this isn't just a story about money, it's a story about power, legacy, and the family that rewrote the rules of finance forever. First up, real estate, because the Rothschilds don't just buy houses, they snatch up chunks of history. Picture over 1,800 luxury properties worldwide, castles, chateaus, estates that'd make a king jealous. Start with Waddesdon Manor in Buckinghamshire, England, built by Baron Ferdinand de Rothschild in 1874. This isn't a house, it's a 300-acre fantasy land with 45 rooms, ceilings dripping gold, and gardens so pristine you'd swear they're photoshopped. Back then, it cost millions to build. Today, it's valued at over $200 million, and that's conservative. Then there's Château de Ferrières outside Paris, a 30,000 square foot beast with a ballroom that could swallow your average apartment block. Baron James de Rothschild threw a party there for Napoleon III in 1862, and the Emperor, used to Versailles, still gawked and said, "This isn't a house, it's a palace." The guest list? Royalty, tycoons, and a menu with 12 courses, because why not? They've got dozens more. Mintmore Towers in England with its own zoo back in the day. Chateau Lafite in Bordeaux. Even a Swiss alpine retreat with a private ski lift. Maintenance? Try $10 million a year per estate. Gardeners, butlers, restorers keeping the marble gleaming. They don't Airbnb these, they're private kingdoms. Imagine waking up, picking a castle for breakfast, and hosting a 50-person feast just because it's Wednesday. But it's not just buildings, it's land. In France alone, they own over 2,000 acres of vineyards, producing some of the most exclusive wines on the planet. Bottles of their Chateau Lafite Rothschild can sell for over $100,000 at auction. And they don't just produce the wine, they own the land, the vines, the estates, and even control distribution channels, ensuring their legacy is locked into the DNA of fine wine forever. In the UK, they've got Ascot House, complete with a cricket pitch, a private lake stocked with rare fish, and gardens that look like they were designed by Renaissance artists. And it doesn't stop there. Ex-posts claim they even bought an entire village in Tuscany once, just to turn it into a family retreat. Locals still call it Rothschildville. Now let's roll into the toys, because billionaires don't walk, they jet set and sail. The Rothschilds reportedly own over 100 private jets. Think Gulfstream G700s, each $75 million straight off the lot, with custom interiors like leather from endangered cows and TVs in the bathroom. They've got a fleet, fuel, pilots, hangars. That's $50 million a year just to keep them airborne. One ex-user swears Nathaniel Rothschild once flew from London to Paris for lunch. 45 minutes each way, $20,000 in fuel just for a $200 steak. But that's pocket change when you have a rumored 500 billion dynasty. Then there's the yachts. Planet 9, tied to Nathaniel, is a $100 million beast, 240 feet, helipad, sleeps 16 with a crew of 20. It's got a cinema room and a snowmobile garage for Arctic trips, because why sail the Med when you can freeze in style? They've got others. Leander, a 250-footer from the 90s, cost $50 million back then, now worth double. And rumor has it, a yet unnamed Rothschild mega yacht is under construction, a 400-footer with a hybrid propulsion system, bulletproof glass, and an onboard AI concierge. Smaller boats? Sure, but even those hit $5 million each. Cars, buckle up. Bugatti Chirons at $3 million a pop. David Mayer de Rothschild's got one in emerald green. Vintage Rolls Royces from the 1920s, $500,000 each, line their garages. Armored Range Rovers for security, $1 million a piece with bulletproof glass. David Mayer allegedly keeps a 50-car collection. Think $20 million in classics, including a 1930s Bentley he had gold-plated because, well, he could. Then there's the bespoke builds, like a rumored one-off Pagani Huayra, designed exclusively for a Rothschild heir, featuring meteorite-infused paint and a steering wheel inlaid with rare opal. They don't stop there. Custom jobs are their kink. Rumor has it one Rothschild ordered a yacht with a submarine bay. $10 million extra just to dive for rare coral. Another got a jet with a retractable roof for stargazing mid-flight. Cost $15 million over base price. A lesser-known member of the dynasty supposedly has a 24K gold-plated helicopter because why not? Oh, and let's not forget the art, because billionaires flex through culture too. Their collection includes everything from stolen Nazi loot, reclaimed legally of course, to rare Renaissance pieces locked away in vaults. A single painting? Try $150 million for a Da Vinci. Some of their mansions have secret galleries that rival entire museums. This isn't spending, it's a global flex that says we don't just own the road, sky, and sea, we own the game. The Rothschilds aren't just rich, they've mastered the art of living in a way so extreme that even other billionaires take notes. Here's where it gets wild. They don't just blow cash, they multiply it. The Rothschilds own chunks of banks. Rothschild & Co. pulls $500 million in profit yearly, managing ultra-rich portfolios, charging fees that'd choke a normal person. They've got stakes in energy, oil rigs off Africa, solar farms in Spain, plus real estate trusts swallowing skyscrapers from London to New York. Ex post scream they rake in $300 billion a year from assets, jets, yachts, castles feeding the machine. Exaggerated? Maybe, but their net worth's a black hole. Estimates range from $500 billion to $2 trillion, and they don't just invest, they influence. Their banking empire once funded empires, from Napoleon's campaigns to Britain's colonial expansion. Even today, their firms quietly advise governments on debt restructuring, military budgets, and economic strategy. Need a bailout? A Rothschild banker might be the one drafting the fine print. Their fingers are in the IMF, the World Bank, and key central banks worldwide, shaping policy from behind closed doors. They don't flaunt it like Musk. Nathaniel's $1 billion and David Mayer's $10 billion are pocket change next to the core. Philanthropy's their chess move. $50 million Rothschild Foundation gifts sound noble, but it's tax hacks and PR gold. They've built hospitals in Israel, funded Oxford Wings, $200 million total since 2000. But the real spend? The golden goose, their term for untouchable wealth. Their assets aren't just diverse, they're designed to be impervious to market crashes and political turmoil. They've got a private island off Antarctica, yes, Antarctica, bought in the 80s for $10 million. Now a research base and tax haven. X claims they own a secret gold mine in South America, $5 billion in bullion, guarded by ex-mercs. True, who knows? They don't talk. But consider this. During the Great Depression, while economies collapsed, their holdings expanded. While tech bubbles burst, they bought undervalued assets. In 2008, while banks drowned, their advisors were helping governments craft rescue packages and profiting from the aftermath. They've dodged revolutions, French, Russian, by bailing to Switzerland with trunks of gold. During World War II, they smuggled art out of Nazi hands, then bought it back, cheap post-war, $100 million profit. They've got archives of historical financial data stretching back centuries, giving them predictive power over markets that even AI-driven hedge funds envy. Their investments in emerging tech aren't random. They back AI, biotech, and quantum computing with surgical precision. Last year alone, they dropped $20 million into a quantum computing firm poised to revolutionize encryption, and by extension, banking security. And let's talk influence again. Rothschild alumni hold high positions in global finance, from hedge funds to government economic advisory boards. When major global deals go down, from sovereign debt restructuring to multi-billion-dollar acquisitions, odds are someone from their circle is in the room, shaping terms, pulling strings. Their secret? Spend loud, castles, jets, while the real fortune grows in silence, outlasting empires, wars, and us. They're not just rich, they're architects of the financial world, playing a game where wealth isn't just power, it's immortality. So how do the Rothschilds spend their billions? Castles that mock skyscrapers, jets racing the wind, yachts dwarfing cruise ships, art that rewrites the past, wine older than your grandpa, and a legacy that snickers at time itself. This isn't just wealth, it's a dynasty engineered to outlive us all, a money machine disguised as extravagance. But it doesn't stop at luxury. The Rothschilds move markets like chess pieces. Whispers of their influence ripple through banking, politics, and global finance. Conspiracy theories? Maybe. But when your fortune spans centuries and your name is synonymous with power, speculation is inevitable. They fund wars, shape industries, and own assets hidden behind a labyrinth of trusts and shell companies. Ever wonder why their true net worth is a mystery? It's not an accident. And then there's the art. Private collections so rare museums can only dream. Rare books, lost manuscripts, artifacts that could rewrite history if they ever saw daylight. Their vineyards produce wines auctioned for fortunes. Their estates hold secrets older than some countries. This isn't just about money. It's about control, influence, and a legacy that doesn't just endure. It dominates. Genius or over-the-top madness? You tell me. Drop it in the comments. Think this deep dive into billionaire insanity was wild? We're just getting started. Smash that like, subscribe to Billionaire Wealth, and ring the bell so you never miss out. Next up, we're dissecting another fortune. Who's it gonna be? Musk, Bezos, or someone even more secretive? You decide. See you in the Billionaire Deep End. Just don't get lost in the gold.